So I toured the sunrise of Scottsdale. Full disclosure, I'm currently working for a competitor at Belmont Village, Scottsdale, so I'm a biased source. That said, I think this gives me a unique vantage point in exploring a direct competitor. Scottsdale, Arizona has lived up to the stereotype of being a predominantly older town. Seemingly every block has some sort of older adult community. As such, driving to the sunrise, I passed countless other competitors, from big names like Brookdale to smaller local brands. However, despite the proximity to a major shopping plaza and countless hip restaurants, this sunrise felt very insulated from the outside world. Again, this is despite being on a fairly large block, sandwiched between two of the area's most heavily trafficked streets. Yet again, this building has so much separation from anybody else, due to both the plethora of trees and the expansive parking lot, that it still feels kind of isolated in a good way. As a result, the community doesn't really blend in or blend out because the structure appears so independent of the surroundings. As for the actual building, it's 3 stories and very accessible. From the outside, there's a lovely drive-in ending in a roundabout, and there's a nice walk under a shaded structure where you can pass residents who are outside enjoying the weather. The outside almost resembles a porte cochere, and pardon me on my pronunciation, which seems very common in this market. The landscaping was quite bland, but that has been common throughout much of Scottsdale. I imagine there are water regulations limiting the lush landscaping options. They had what my colleagues refer to as a typical sunrise chandelier effect to impress the adult children. They also had large porches and a bistro soda shop, which I found impressive, though admittedly a little dated. Seating was available everywhere, and the common areas were both very much in use while still having abundant seating for additional guests. The residents were a mix of assisted living and memory care. Despite at least a third of the building being memory care, the parking lot was surprisingly full of cars. And not because there was an event going on, it just seems like a lot of the residents drive. This checks out because the residents I saw appeared to ambulate very well. I saw very few using canes, walkers, or wheelchairs, at least relative to my expectations. As I walked around myself, the building felt incredibly hot. I went out of my way to see a thermostat and it was set to 80 plus degrees. No one else seemed as bothered as me, so I guess this is just the tax of being a New Jersey boy down in Arizona. Teresa, my tour guide, gave the impression that occupancy was close to 100% because only 2 apartments were currently available to show. Both had antiquated furnishings, and they all had a mini refrigerator, but, I don't want to make it sound bad. It really wasn't. Both of the units I saw were 1 bedrooms, and the second one was very spacious. It was handicap accessible, and it had a balcony facing the center courtyard. And note that the balconies were seemingly ubiquitous. Almost every second floor seemed to have one. The community seemed to have a lot more men and couples than the typical community. And when I asked, they attribute this to having a male sales team and what I perceive as a female-dominated profession. So again, it's interesting that they think having male community relations helps attract single, male, older adults. Walking around the building, I noted that the doors are personalized. Especially in memory care, where families are given a large blank frame to put photos and representations of their loved ones' interests and expectations. I didn't notice an outdoor space for memory care. I think they had a sizable balcony with high railings, but I didn't get to explore it myself. However, the more independent residents had plenty of space, both shaded on the outside and mostly unshaded in the central courtyard. Common areas were bright and very much central, and they were showcased on the tour. The dining area was bright, energetic, and had the look of a 50s soda shop. The kitchen offered all-day dining, and with the jukebox in the corner, the place was really buzzing. The residents seemed happy, and they were enjoying the resident dog, who seemed trained to go everywhere in the building except for that dining room. I picked up on a sense of community amongst the residents. Multiple introduced themselves to me along my tour and said what a wonderful place that sunrise is. The employees didn't seem as interested in talking to me, which I guess makes sense. I mean, I wasn't with an older individual, so I didn't give off the impression of being a true customer. No judgment passed. Overall, I thought the building flowed very well from one space to the next. Teresa admitted that it was an older building. It was converted from a hotel 20 years ago, but she focuses on the quality of care and the people. Thank you for your time.